Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's 1800 hours, and welcome to the City of St. John Common Council meeting for Monday, June the 26th. We're going to start this evening with a land acknowledgement, and Councillor Killen is going to read that for us. Over to you, Councillor.
Just 1 second here, Your Worship. Thank you. This is to acknowledge that the land on which the City of St. John, Menaquist is situated is the traditional territory of the Wolastoqey and Maliseet. The Wolastoqey Maliseet, along with their Indigenous neighbors, the Mi'kmaq and the Pescatomakati, signed peace and friendship treaties with the British Crown in the 1700s that protected their rights to land and resources. Take a moment.
We'll reflect for a few seconds. Okay, I'll ask everyone to please stand for the national anthem. Okay, City Clerk, next item, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next on the agenda is item 2.1, approval of minutes of June 12th.
Approval of minutes of June 12th. Councillor Ogden and Councillor Radwan on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
Next is item 3, approval of the agenda. There is one addition from Committee of the Whole, and that is for recommendations for appointments to committees. Item 17.1.
Okay, I'll take a motion for the approval of the agenda. Councillor Stewart and Councillor Killen on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
Next is disclosures of conflict of interest, if there are any.
Not seeing any. Next item.
Next is item 5, the consent agenda.
Consent agenda. Over to you, Deputy, for the consent, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd move 5.1 through to 5.3.
Take a seconder. Councillor Sullivan on the question. Councillor Lowe, do you have a question? On the question, all in favor? Okay, sorry. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, City Clerk.
Next item is item 6, members' comments.
Members' comments. Okay, team. 2 minute speed round. Councillor Killen, you're up first.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. I just want to congratulate all the organizers and volunteers who threw an incredible week of activities for St. John West Days. Hugh McGill and Betty Ouellette, Pat Riley, many, many more, Al Babineau. There was so many folks who came out to put that together and have a huge showing for the return of St. John West Days. So I can only imagine what they're going to be able to do in the years to come. And I know lots of you came out to support as well. So thanks to our fellow councillors and staff and everybody who is involved with making that happen. Also, it was amazing Indigenous Peoples Day this year. City staff once again put on a program that allowed us to start as early as 5 a.m. at Tucker Park with Elder Chris Brooks, which was an amazing setting of the tone for the day with a ceremonial fire lighting and songs and commiseration. It was very beautiful to be a part of. And then the flag raising, which was, I guess, according to the folks there, the most well-attended flag raising for Indigenous Peoples Day ever in the city of St. John. And then an amazing walk with Dave from First Nations Storytellers to remind us of our power as a council to help impact the world and make it better and make it good for all of us. So it was an inspirational day. It was an emotional day. And I'm so proud of our city for taking these efforts seriously when it comes to truth and reconciliation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. It was a great day. Councillor Sullivan, over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. 3 pieces of must-watch St. John homegrown entertainment to report on. First, congratulations to the Interaction Theatre Company and their run of Jacob Tutu. We have such great theatre in St. John, and so much of it starts with the young people at Interaction, so congratulations to them. The second piece is St. John Theatre Company will be starting that Scottish play, Macbeth, outside at Fort Latour. Running from July 12th to July 22nd. So I'm sure you can get more information on that on their website, but a fantastic group in a fantastic location. And the third piece, I'd highly recommend that everybody tunes into the Finance Committee on Wednesday afternoon starting at 1 o'clock. The plot starts as we wrap up last year with the audited statements, and it rolls into the start of Budget 2024. Exciting. That's 1 p.m. on your usual St. John Council channels. Thank you.
Councillor, that's an interesting group of 3 there. I do have tickets for Macbeth and the Finance Committee meeting. Councillor Hickey, over to you.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Few things, of course, echoing Councillor Killen's comments. St. John West Days was a huge success. A real testament to, I think, the community identity of the West Side. It's one that is quite proud and one that's quite territorial, and I think one that a lot of other neighborhoods in St. John can learn from. It was also great to be at the First Steps graduation alongside Councillor Norton, yourself, Your Worship, Councillors Harris and Killen as well, Councillor Radwan as well. Sorry if I missed anyone else that was there, but we had great showing from council and show our support to a really tremendous organization. I always find their graduation to be quite inspiring. And building off of our recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day, it was great to join alongside quite a few members of council and staff for a walk with the First Nations storytellers. I thought that was really powerful, gave us a lot of context as to the history of the city we get to represent and grow. And coming up July 1st, Canada Day from 12 noon till 5 p.m. At the Area 506 Container Village. Lots of events led by our city. Going to be an action-packed day, followed up with fireworks at 10:15. Maybe this will be the first time ever in St. John history we don't have to cancel, but the weather is not looking optimistic. So we'll probably stick to delaying them for a few weeks as we normally do, but hopefully we don't have to. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Radwan?
Thank you, Mayor. So tomorrow is Multicultural Day celebrations going on. Unfortunately, I think that the parade and flag raising are going to be canceled because of weather, but there's still actually some events going on. Prude's putting on an event between 11:30 and 1 at the Arts Center, and the St. John Newcomer Center has events taking place between 12 and 1:30 in the Market Square Atrium, and they'll have food, art, and music there, so that'll be fantastic if you can get out to that. Bobby's Hospice actually has their barbecues started, so we're hoping to get to some of them. The next one is actually, I think it's this Thursday from 11:30 until 1:30 on Dufferin Avenue at 285 Dufferin Avenue. I also wanted to mention that the St. John Night Market has started again, and this is a great opportunity for a lot of people that are thinking to open new business. If you remember, Mishawi used to be there. Now they have their location on Germain Street. So the night market goes from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. on Thursdays, and then Passport to Parks is coming at the Res on July the 8th from 1 till 4. So I'm hoping to see lots of people there. And I just wanted to quickly say thank you to staff because there's been lots of work going on at the one-stop shop. 299 permits, Mayor, so far this year, which totals $60.6 million. So great job to staff.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Norton?
Passport to Parks is building on Councillor Radwan coming to Dominion Park August 19th, 1 to 4. So whether you're hitting the Little River Reservoir, Rainbow Park, Dominion Park, or Rockwood Park, check out the city's website. There's dates and activities for you to fill your calendar up. So there'll be lots of fun events for young and old alike. On top of that, thank you to Sherry O'Connor. She's not here because she works tirelessly keeping our CIO in line. And I want to thank her and her team with the City of St. John PALS team for coming out and feeding 564 K-12 students along with 78 faculty and staff. I couldn't do it without the reinforcement from Fire Chief Clifford's team, along with inside workers, outside workers, professional staff for that PALS barbecue. Partners assisting local schools, part of the BCAP, the umbrella, supports schools far and wide in terms of all kinds of initiatives. And that annual Fun Day barbecue is one. The mayor came out, and I know CAO McGovern also came out along with Sherry and her team. So if you see Sherry or you know who she is, she puts her heart and soul into it, and she works hard for that initiative. And thanks to the corporation for allowing her to do that. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy, over to you.
Thank you, Worship. Just a short one, but an important. Bobby's Hospice Barbecue is being held Thursday this week because of the long weekend, 11:30 to 1:30, and you'll see a lot of familiar faces from the City of St. John as we'll be sponsoring it this week. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you. All right, that's great. Next item, City Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next on the agenda is a proclamation. It's item 7.1, and it's for Indigenous Survivor Day.
Whereas Common Council recognizes the historical injustices endured by Indigenous peoples due to colonization, forced assimilation, and systemic injustices, and whereas Indigenous Survivors Day on June 30th provides an opportunity to acknowledge the resilience, strength, and cultural heritage of Indigenous communities who have persevered through historical traumas, and whereas designating June 30th as Indigenous Survivors Day creates a platform for healing, education, and dialogue, raising awareness about the unique struggles faced by Indigenous peoples. And whereas this observance serves as a solemn reminder of the ongoing challenges faced by Indigenous communities and highlights the importance of supporting their cultural heritage and promoting understanding. And whereas Indigenous Survivors Day fosters inclusivity, unity, and a sense of solidarity among community members, promoting reconciliation and justice. And whereas by implementing Indigenous Survivors Day on Friday, June 30th, Common Council demonstrates its commitment to honoring Indigenous survivors, promoting healing, and building a more equitable and inclusive city. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Donna Node-Reardon of St. John, do hereby proclaim Friday, June 30th, 2023 as Indigenous Survivors Day in the City of St. John. Next item, City Clerk.
Next item, Your Worship, is under the presentations. It's item 8.1, and it's a presentation, a verbal presentation with respect to Kidney Cancer Canada, Living with Kidney Cancer. The presenter is Karen Ross, and she is available through our teleconferencing.
Okay, so let's wait till we see Karen. Karen, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we can hear, I can hear, oh, there you are.
Right, and I can see myself in the little small square in the right-hand corner, and I can see the counselors.
Okay,
Right.
excellent. So so we can hand this over to you then now? Are you ready?
Yes,
All
yes. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. And thank you, Mayor Reardon and counselors for proclaiming Thursday, June 15th as World Kidney Cancer Day in St. John. My name is Karen Ross, and I'm a board member for Kidney Cancer Canada, Cancer du Rhin Canada, for the Atlantic provinces. Unfortunately, our numbers are growing every year, and we are seeing more young people being diagnosed with kidney cancer. Away from hospitals, tests, and treatment, there are things every kidney cancer patient and caregiver can do to improve their physical and emotional well-being. Talking openly about it is vital to a patient's emotional and physical health. We need to talk about living with kidney cancer. My husband used to bike 25 kilometers a day, weather permitting, and if not, he would use his recumbent bike. Biking was his go-to exercise, and he loved his long rides along the streets and trails of Fredericton. He was also an active member of the York Sunbury Search and Rescue for over 10 years while he was living with metastatic kidney cancer. He participated in searches whenever one was called. Following the suggestions that will be made tonight, he was able to have a good quality of life, full of lots of living, love, and laughter, even while he was on treatment and facing medical challenges. He used to say every day is a good day. The aim of World Kidney Cancer Day 2023 is to start conversations around the world about what those things are and how those living with kidney cancer can use them to maintain a good quality of life. June 15th, 2023 was a good day to start talking about kidney cancer, living with kidney cancer. Talking with family and friends brings up questions to consider, such as how much should you share with your family and friends, and will talking about it make them worry? A good patient and caregiver support group is a community that helps overcome feelings of isolation. It can provide solutions to some of the challenges of living with kidney cancer, and it can also help to better understand both the patient's condition and treatment options. Questions arising are how to find a good support group, why talking with others going through the same thing helps, and also how to check if a support group is legitimate. We need to talk about counseling and therapy and how it can help the patient and caregiver. A good support group can encourage kidney cancer patients, particularly men, to accept counseling support. Another question is, do clinicians put enough emphasis on the cancer patient's emotional health? Diet and nutrition are important topics to talk about while living with kidney cancer. Some questions that need to be asked are there foods kidney cancer patients should or shouldn't be eating while on or off treatment? Must a patient give up favorite foods? And how does a patient get the nutrients needed when it is a struggle to eat anything at all? Physical activity is also very important. Today, most kidney cancer patients are encouraged to be as physically active as their body can tolerate. But what activities are best? What if you're not sporty? What can a caregiver do to encourage and support patients to be more active? Kidney Cancer Canada can help with all these questions. Along with many programs and resources, we have a strong patient and caregiver peer support program. We have monthly virtual coffee chats in both English and French. These sessions provide a safe space for kidney cancer patients and caregivers to get together and share their experiences. We can help patients and caregivers access counseling and therapy in their communities. We have a physical activity guide specifically for kidney cancer survivors created by Linda Trin, who has her PhD in phys ed and recreation from the University of Alberta. On our website, we have a video knowledge library to answer questions many patients and caregivers have asked us over the years. These short clips feature clear responses from kidney cancer specialists across Canada. If you are facing or have faced a diagnosis of kidney cancer, are living with kidney cancer, or know somebody who is, please consider telling them about our organization and suggest they check out our website, www.kidneycancercanada.ca. If there are any questions or need of help and/or support is required, please contact us at info@kidneycancercanada.ca. We are here to help. Thank you for sharing this time with me, and have a great meeting.
Thank you, Karen. That was a great little presentation. And your husband's right. Every day is a good day. And going forward, I mean, there's lots of little tricks. I guess sharing information is great, because sometimes, if you have an issue, someone else has already dealt with that and may have a solution for it. So those groups that can get together, I think are so beneficial. And like you say, talk about the emotional health of the patient as well as you go forward. There's lots of little tricks for getting people to eat or trying to support eating as well. So it's the support groups are extremely important for anyone who's having treatments for cancer therapy of any sort. So appreciate you being here tonight, and thank you very much.
Thank you again, Mayor Reardon and councillors.
My pleasure. Next
Have a
item.
good evening.
Thank you. You as well. Next item, City Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next, there is another presentation, item 8.2 on the agenda, and this is from Canada Games Aquatic Centre.
Good evening again.
Good
And
evening,
welcome,
Your
Amy.
Worship. All right. Good evening, Your Worship and members of council. So we appreciate having the opportunity to present to you this evening, and I would like to acknowledge that the chair of our Aquatic Centre Commission, Ms. Shalane Logier, is in attendance, along with Mark Dion, who is also one of our commissioners, and Michael Andrade, who is our business development representative. So as part of the approval of a revitalization plan, the Commission had committed to provide an update to Council prior to the third quarter of 2023, and that is our purpose here this evening. And the primary components of the plan focused on continuous improvement, checks and balances to ensure ongoing transparency, and then finally business development. So providing further details on that area, I would like to start with a brief recap of our financials. 2022 ended at approximately $22,000 under budget. And for your reference, this slide includes a breakdown of the funding that was provided. There were significant impacts on revenue at the first of 2022. However, the latter part of the year saw a gradual return to pre-pandemic levels of business. And we are projecting to be on budget for 2023. And although there were no shortage of challenges in 2022, there were also many, many highlights at the Aquatic Centre. A few examples that I'll just touch on from this slide include our Fiddle Ed campaign was very popular, and it helped us to launch a stronger social media presence for the Aquatic Centre. Another initiative was the Faces of the Aquatic Centre campaign that is ongoing, and it's been very well received. So pictured here is Betty Kennett. Betty is a long-time member of the Aquatic Centre. She's also a volunteer as a caretaker for the many plants around the facility. And Betty is a strong advocate for physical activity. She credits her swimming and her activity at the Aquatic Centre with helping to keep her out of a wheelchair, which is what her diagnosis was several years ago. And also part of 2022 was the launch of a Members Perks program. So that involves the Aquatic Centre partnering with various businesses, and it allows local to support local, but it also provides extra value for Aquatic Centre members. So it really does pay to be an Aquatic Centre member. And again, just touching on a couple of items, we were fortunate to be able to host an intern through the Nick Nicole Community Center's One Future program, as well as a couple of co-op students from Harborview High School. And 2023 has already been an exciting year to date. So some highlights include older adults becoming lifeguards, known as Grey Watch. So if you missed any of that coverage, it's out there and it received national coverage as well. And we also are very excited to have launched recently a new community access program that will assist those with financial challenges in our community to be able to access the Aquatic Center and benefit from the many wellness and recreation opportunities there. We were lucky to get a seed donation from Port St. John that allowed us to launch this important program, and there is already a waiting list, so we're hard at work fundraising. And applicant information for that program is, of course, kept confidential, but I would like to share that one of the first applicants was a single mother with 4 children, and she was incredibly excited to be able to participate in recreational swims as a family. So I think that's something that maybe some of us take for granted that we're able to do that. So it's a great way to connect and to connect with the community. We're also excited to have partnered with the Anglophone School District South. We piloted a Swim to Survive program this spring on weekday mornings, which we hope to grow in the next school year. And in an area surrounded by waterways, such as our community, learning to swim is truly a life-saving skill. So we feel programs like this are incredibly important for the safety of our community. And I'll mention, pictured on this slide is a longtime employee of the Aquatic Center, Brenda Graham. She is the oldest lifeguard in Canada, and she competed in the Canada 55+ Games in BC last summer. And as you can see, she brought back several medals to St. John. So we're very proud to have such high caliber staff on deck at the Aquatic Center. So I would like to take a moment just to note that the Aquatic Center is truly a community center for the Fundy region. It contributes to the overall quality of life, and it assists in attracting and retaining new residents, as well as supporting local tourism. So already this year, the facility has hosted the Provincial Artistic Swimming Championships, Swim NB's Provincial Long Course Championships, a swim meet for the Special Olympics, and this July we'll be welcoming back the Atlantic Cup again. And as we look toward the future, we would like to provide an overview of activities that are underway in terms of business development. So I'd first like to note that ongoing business development is guided by 4 principles. First and foremost is to reduce the annual subsidy request. Secondly, we want to ensure that core services the community prioritized during last year's public engagement are maintained and that they remain affordable going forward. We want to be sure that revenue streams are diversified to minimize financial risk. And then finally, we want to keep in mind that innovation is required to meet the evolving needs of our community and to take advantage of any emerging opportunities. So I will now hand things over to my colleague, Business Development Representative Mike Andrade, and he can provide further details.
Thank you, Amy. Good evening. My name is Mike Andrade. A little bit of background on me. I was born and raised in St. John. Went to M. Gerald Teed School, St. Peter's Junior High, St. Malachy's, and UNBSJ, so covered all the spectrum there. I have over 25 years of experience in corporate sales and client management. And now given a quick overview of the files that I've been working on for the past 3 months. So aquatic therapy is something that's been highlighted in the revitalization plan. We currently are looking at having 3 private clinics promote aquatherapy as a service to the Canada Games Aquatic Center. So previously there was one, the St. John Sport Medicine Clinic, that is currently on site, and right now we'll have 3 starting this month. To further establish our credibility in the field, we just hosted this past weekend the Canadian Aquatic Rehabilitation Institute. Their instructor provided a review of the latest research and techniques in aquatic therapy, and 2 from our staff participated in that training. Additionally, we started to introduce wellness sessions for members and visitors to the facility. We've hosted our registered dietitian, and we're also in discussions to have blood pressure screening and blood sugar testing at our facility. While these sessions do not bring immediate revenue to the Canada Games Aquatic Center, these services generate general health awareness, creates partnerships with the healthcare community, and promotes the Aquatic Center as a wellness center. Additionally, we're looking at increasing memberships and visitors to the Aquatic Center. One of the things that I've been chasing down is, because of our location, we've targeted uptown businesses to be their choice for their corporate wellness programs, and we have several proposals on the table for these employers. At the same time, we've started agreements with uptown property owners that do not have an on-site pool or fitness center. These property owners will market this partnership with the Aquatic Center as an added property feature for their tenants. As well, seniors are another important sector that we've focused on. Many senior facilities have on-site recreational programs, but we've promoted the benefits of low-impact aqua activities. And finally, we've had conversations with the French International School, Don Bosco. So the Aquatic Center will be the partner for their daily recreational activities, providing full access to the pool, swimming lessons, and fitness center. And that will be opening in the fall of 2024. So we're also adding a new sport to the facility. Currently at the Aquatic Center, we're home to 3 aquatic clubs: the St. John Fundy Swim Club, Surf City Artistic Swim Club, and the St. John Water Polo Club. The last sport not represented at the Aquatic Center is the sport of diving. It's an official sport of the Canada Summer Games. However, the previous diving club has been inactive since 2018. With most of the past coaches and volunteers moving on to other endeavors, we're starting from scratch. We're working with Diving Canada, Nova Scotia Amateur Diving Association, to deliver learn-to-dive instruction to our staff. It's a turnkey program that includes teaching collaterals, and our instructors do not require a diving background. So the program is retained by the Aquatic Center and will be offered as an ongoing service similar to swimming lessons. It's our hope that we can have a diver from St. John represent New Brunswick at the next 2029 Summer Games. Finally, on some fundraising and sponsorship. Amy's already spoke about the Community Access Program. But another form of corporate sponsorship is sponsoring community swims. Supported community swims are very popular as we often reach capacity. Local businesses get spotlighted and gain exposure with the community while providing available pool access for local families. So far, we have 3 local companies that have verbally committed to sponsoring community swims in our upcoming fall-winter sessions. And finally, some other services and products. I do a lot of benchmarking with other private health clinics and wellness centers. I've had a call with the business development manager of the Canada Games Center in Halifax, Nova Scotia, to see what they're doing. So food services is something that is located at many facilities, and it hasn't been at the Aquatic Center in some time. So we've partnered with Nella's Kitchen, a local business that supplies healthy, prepackaged, ready-to-go foods. It's a great service for our patrons, and we attract some other uptown traffic as well. So we've consistently sold out of inventory every week there. Advertising sales, we're exploring the viability of selling sponsored signage and advertising in our Jumbotron. We've added a new service, what we call aquatic industry training. There's a lot of companies that are with operations near and offshore. We've created a service to offer swim to survive training for employees with limited swimming abilities. It provides a basic survival skill in case of accidental fall into deep water. And several companies have expressed interest in adding this as part of their health and safety programs. So to conclude, this is a snapshot of the various business development activities that I've been doing over the last 3 months. There's many other stuff, smaller things that are happening as well, a little bit too premature to comment on. And with that, I thank you for your time and welcome any comments or suggestions.
Thank you very much. I do have a couple of, at least one question or comment. Councillor Hickey, over to you.
Just very quickly, Your Worship, thank you very much. I spent a bit of time on our Regional Facilities Commission as well, sitting around this table. And anytime the Aquatic Centre would present, I'll be frank, we sat with bated breath, waiting for what was next. And it's really nice to see the renewed vision you guys have taken on. I think it's really important, in my perspective, corporate performance hinges on staff with an ownership mentality. And I think you act like owners. You act like it's a facility that you want to see succeed and want to protect and aren't just going to use us as a backstop at every opportunity. So it's really exciting, Amy and Mike, to see the renewed vision, of course, led by your board and led by your team. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Radwan, over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much, Amy and Mike, for your presentations, and Shailene for being here. It's great to see such a shift in the Aquatic Center and looking for some new business opportunities. It's wonderful. The other thing that I think is great for taxpayers to know is, that you're trying to get these sort of business initiatives going and hoping to save money that you'll be asking for from regional services, regional facilities rather. So I think that's great news. And, every organization should be following this sort of line that you are. I think it's a great example. And I think everybody should always be looking for continuous improvements, right? So I did want to ask you though, Amy, how is the best way for people to get in contact with the Aquatic Center, see what sort of programs or initiatives that they can partake in? Or if I know you're doing some fundraising and getting sponsorships, so how can they connect with you for that too?
Absolutely. Through your worship to Councillor Radwan. Of course, we're very active on social media, so those who are on Facebook and Instagram can certainly find us there. It's a great way to stay up to date on the latest programs, when swimming lessons, registrations happening, various events that are coming to the facility. Our website is also, Google it up and you'll find lots of information there. It's probably your best place to go in terms of getting information on a donation. So we have a Canada Helps page set up directly on the website, so that allows people to make a donation and to support the community access program that was mentioned earlier.
Yeah, your website looks great too. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Amy, thank you to you and Michael, Shailene, and Mark for coming this evening. It's an amazing asset, really. I mean, it's the only Olympic-sized pool in the province. It's in the heart of the uptown area, and it's so fantastic to see it being, I guess, reinvented in a lot of ways. So it's nice to see you taking on board, different uses for it other than just recreation, with all the therapy that you're incorporating, et cetera, into it. So it's really great to see, and I appreciate you being here tonight. So thanks to you and your team. Great job.
Thank you, everyone.
So I'll need a motion to receive for information. Councillor Norton and Councillor Stewart on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, City Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next item is under consideration of bylaws, and it's item 10.1 on your agenda, and this is a delegation of authority to award or approve contracts bylaw, third reading.
Melanie, General Counsel, over to you, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, members of council. Before you for third reading this evening is the delegation of authority bylaw, which was drafted in the context of the overarching work led by your finance department relating to the development and implementation of a revised strategic procurement policy. In conformity with Section 9 of the Local Governance Act and to support the implementation of the new strategic procurement policy, This bylaw purports to delegate the authority to award contracts to the CAO, provided the award of the contract has been done in compliance with the provisions of the city's strategic procurement policy. This is in line with what is being done in other jurisdictions across the country. And with that, I will hand it over to the clerk for the appropriate motions. Thank you, Your Worship.
Over to you, City Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this one requires just the two motions, third reading, and in this case, we can read in summary rather than read out the whole bylaw itself. So an approval of third reading by summary, and then an approval of third reading by title.
Okay, so I'll get the motion, I'll get the item on the floor first, so we'll take a motion from the deputy for reading by summary, and Councillor Hickey. So on the question, Councillor Harris, over to you.
I was just going to move the motion, Your Worship, and make a
sorry.
quick comment as well. But I don't think anybody picked up on this the last time we talked about it. But the social side of this procurement additions is really critical. And I just for the sake of getting it on the record, like this really does capture a wide variety of items that the city wants to find a local supplier of or services. And for anybody who's involved in social enterprise development in the city, and there's a number of groups that are, this is a real look to the future to say, what are the types of local community wealth building and economic development initiatives that we want to do that we can provide an immediate customer for with the city. So it's a big move. And as long as we have some forward-looking people and entrepreneurs in the city, it really spells a bright future for that type of social enterprise development that can go beyond our borders for sure, but at least there's a dedicated customer base right here with the city corporate itself. So anyway, amazing. I'm really, really excited about this. It's procurement, so it doesn't get a lot of airtime, but it's a big deal. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. So we've got the motion to approve third reading by summary on the floor. On the question, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
The bylaw is entitled, "A Bylaw Respecting the Development of Authority to Award or Approve Contracts." And the summary is that the bylaw will permit Common Council to delegate the awarding of contracts to the CAO, commissioners, and directors of the city within the spending limits authorized under the Strategic Procurement Policy and complies with the requirements of the Local Governance Act. The bylaw authorizes the mayor and city clerk to execute contracts awarded by the CAO, commissioners, and directors, as long as the requirements of the strategic policy are met. And now one more motion by title, Your Worship.
The third reading by title, Councillor Harris and Councillor Hickey on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
A bylaw respecting the delegation of authority to award or approve contracts.
All right, thank you. Next item, City Clerk.
Next is another bylaw. This is 10.2 on your agenda, zoning bylaw amendment with section 59 conditions, 33 Birch Grove Terrace.
Okay, I'm sending this one over to Amy Pofferoff in the commissioner's seat this evening.
Thank you, Your Worship. 33 Birch Grove Terrace is a proposal to rezone a property in Milledgeville from one-unit residential to low-rise residential. The purpose of the rezoning is to legalize a third unit on the property. City staff has reviewed the application, and as proposed, it would meet the standards of the low-rise residential zone, including parking requirements with no changes to the existing footprint. The proposed development also aligns with the policies established in the city's municipal plan. The proposed rezoning will facilitate the continued use of the property as a low-density multi-unit building, and proposed Section 59 conditions would see the site limited to a maximum of 4 residential units in the future. City staff are recommending allowing for the rezoning of the subject site from R1 to RL, and on June 10th, the application passed first and second reading before Common Council.
Okay, City Clerk, over to you for the motions.
In this case, we require 3 motions. The first one is approval of third reading in its entirety, then approval of section 59, and then approval of third reading by title.
So approve reading by entirety. Councillor Killen, Councillor Harris. On the question, I have a question. With this, if This was split vote last week. So if this goes no, what are the consequences? And if it goes yes, what are the consequences? So I want to know the consequences of both. Ava, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. So if you were to vote no on this case, the enforcement would be, so under the zoning bylaw currently, the unit may have the first unit and then it may have the second unit in the basement suite as a secondary suite. So if you were to vote no, they would still be able to have 2 units, but they would have to remove the kitchen and remove the tenants of the third unit. They would still need to meet all zoning bylaw requirements. They would still need to meet all the building code. They would need to apply for building permits, and they would be hit with those double building permit fees. If you were to vote yes, it would legalize that third unit as well as the second unit. They would still have to take out all building permits. They would have to make sure everything met code and was met legal requirements, and they would be hit with those double building permit fees as well.
Double permit fees, okay. All right. So Councillor Radwan has a question.
Just quickly, Mayor, through you to Director Poppenroth, if I can ask, are we supposed to, I know that there was some enforcement issues with this proposal. Is council supposed to be considering that when voting on this for rezoning?
Back to you. Okay, I'm going to send that over to General Counsel, sorry.
Thank you, Your Worship. When council makes a decision on a land use matter, council should consider land use principles.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I have the motion on the floor. We have a motion, first a mover and a seconder. So I will call the question. I have no more questions. On the question, all in favor? 2, 3. How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
5.
6? Okay, 6. Motion carries.
What was the 6th, Your Worship?
Councillor Norton? Councillor Norton was our 6th one? Okay. Yeah,
Thank
he
you.
was one of the 5,
Yep.
the original 5.
Okay, so that has passed. So the reading in its entirety would be a law to amend the zoning bylaw of the City of St. John. The zoning bylaw of the City of St. John enacted on the 15th day of December 2014 is amended by amending Schedule A, the zoning map of the City of St. John by rezoning a parcel of land having an area of approximately 1,039 square meters located at 33 Birch Grove Terrace, also identified as PID number 55230767, from 1 unit residential to low-rise residential, pursuant to a resolution adopted by Common Council under Section 59 of the Community Planning Act.
Councillor Sullivan, you've got a question? Go ahead.
Just on process, Your Worship, understanding that 6 voted in favor, you didn't call for the nays.
Oh, sorry.
So in our bylaw, if you don't vote, you're voting in favor, but I'm
Okay,
opposed.
how am I going to fix that? I guess I was just, what? Yeah, so I'll call for the nays on that, sorry. Sorry, nays. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Thank you, sorry. I was just surprised. I was surprised. I think that's what it was. I was relieved. All right, next.
So two more motions required on this one. Next is for approval of Section 59.
Approval of Section 59s. Councillor Stewart and Councillor Killen on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Sullivan, Councillor Ogden, the deputy, and Councillor Lowe. Thank you.
And one more motion for the approval of third reading by title.
Approval of third reading by title. Councillor Killen and Councillor Harris on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Lowe, Councillor Sullivan, Councillor Ogden, the deputy. Okay, motion carried.
A law to amend the zoning bylaw of the City of St. John.
All right, next item, City Clerk.
Next is under business matters, item 12.1. It's the 2023 Work Plan Initiative Status Update.
All right, we're sending this one over to the CAO for our work plan update for 2023. It's hefty.
Okay, good evening, Your Worship, members of council. As your CAO, I'm here this evening to present the 2023 initiatives plan. This plan is derived mainly from council's priorities in the 10-year strategic plan, but also there are a number of other items that I'll get into in later slides that have contributed to the creation of this plan. So some context for the initiatives plan. The plan consists essentially of items related to working on the business as opposed to working in the business. And you've heard me talk about this before, where working in the business is really the delivery of services, routine work, and that consumes the majority of our time as well as the majority of the budget. And working on the business, however, is what changes the way we deliver our business. So creating, renewing, implementing plans, strategies, policies, programs, et cetera, conducting audits and reviews and studies, and implementing major system changes. So as mentioned, this plan was derived primarily from council's priorities in the 10-year plan, but also driven by council's catalytic projects, the municipal plan, and policies, programs, strategies, audits, council resolutions. I like this slide because it shows that the team is focused on strategic work, very strategic work that's planned, budgeted, and coordinated with our stakeholders, and work that will have long-term positive impacts on St. John. You've heard me mention this as well before in terms of the reality that we tend to put more on our plate than we can actually realistically achieve in a year. So we tend to put more initiatives on than we can complete, but overall I can say we're making great progress, and I'll get into that. To keep driving forward, we need to continue to remain focused and disciplined on the outcomes we're seeking. Sometimes we need to pivot because the great opportunities that arise that we could not foresee that we have to incorporate as part of our initiatives plan. And those are some of the things that we do. The team remains flexible to those sorts of things, and particularly as it relates to opportunities that arise during the year, and I'll touch on some of those. So under Vibrant, we have 13 actions. I'm not going to go through all of them, but happy to answer questions as it relates to any of them. I will focus and highlight on some of them just to give a flavor for some of the work that's progressing. So first of all, in terms of the color, green just means, we're on track, we're progressing well. And yellow, there's a slight change in schedule that's adjusted, and I'll get into the reason why. And then orange is we're actually a little bit ahead of schedule beyond where we thought we'd be at this point in time. So first off, I'll highlight the first one. The team will implement 5 additional recreation projects. And as council knows, this has already been approved by council. So the disc golf has recently opened. Passport to Parks has returned, as has been mentioned tonight. And the block party trailer will be launched soon. I know communications has been working on that in terms of getting it wrapped. So in terms of an off-road wheelchair, we're awaiting arrival due to supply chain issues, but that's the 4th one. And then the 5th one we're working on is the cricket field. And so work is ongoing on that in terms of siting it. That's one of the things that's under consideration. So for the next action, which was to implement 2023 actions within the Affordable Housing Action Plan, priority effort was to submit applications to the Federal Rapid Housing Initiative. The team submitted the application to the RHI, and we're awaiting word on the results. Hopefully we'll receive results or word of that very soon. We also added the Housing Accelerator Program. So when I talk about new opportunities that arise, that's a good example of one, a new initiative, and work is well underway with that application, and we reported back to Growth Committee last week on that one. Now, the next 2 you'll see are in yellow, so schedule adjustments on these. First, evaluate governance options and make recommendations for a municipal housing entity. A request for proposal was created for this, but through discussions at Growth Committee, it was decided that we'd hit the pause button on it to allow us to resources to focus on the Housing Accelerator Program. and then issue the RFP once we get that submission in. And so we're looking forward to advancing that once our Housing Accelerator Program submission is completed. The next development of a revised policy for sale of public lands with clear preference to affordable housing. This one has had a slight schedule adjustment as well, just because of the priorities that we've had to pivot our general counsel's office to. So this is something that's a focus, but we'll get back to it in the fall. We're going to complete phase 2 of the community center's needs assessment. This is dependent upon hiring a community inclusion manager and a supervisor for community development. These positions we're underway with, and we're expected to fill those in August. And so work will get underway with that in late summer, early fall. Moving along, I'll touch on a few more. Develop recommendations on city's response to homelessness using a policy approach. So we are in partnership with our nonprofits as well as with the province. And so work is underway on this. Develop a neighborhood plan for the North End. Work will get underway on this in the fall. This is another one where we had hoped to actually start this one a bit sooner, but because of RHI and Housing Accelerator, that one's in the fall. The plan to pedestrianize at least one street, we are on track with that. And the last one, develop an arena strategy. This one is highlighted in orange because it's one that we've moved a bit faster on, again, because of opportunities that arose. So we do have professional services engaged. We're advancing the comprehensive recreational facility catalytic project. And we're working with the Fundy Region Service Commission on this as well at the regional level to undertake a regional needs assessment. Under Prosperous, we have 17 actions. Again, I'll not go through all of them, but highlight some. So complete the City Market Strategic Plan and implement priority actions. The City Market 10-year plan was recently presented to Growth Committee, and it's publicly available, and we're seeking feedback on it. Develop and promote the City of St. John brand. Over the past 6 months, there's been research, brand development work, and the creation of brand guidelines. This work has been in conjunction with Envision, and we plan to be before council this summer to present that to you. Develop a new building incentive program that broadens beyond the peninsula and is coordinated with the community enhancement program implementation. This item is before you this evening on the agenda, and that project is progressing well. We have team members who action that with us here this evening. And work on the strategic plan for industrial parks is underway. And we do have the launch of the new industrial parks website. Consolidate operations into the transit and Rossay Avenue facilities to enable the sale and development of Boar's Head Road facility. So construction work is underway, and we're on schedule with that as well. And then complete the needs analysis and develop general parameters for comprehensive rec facility. That one again is progressing well, and we're preparing for the regional needs assessment, and funding application has been submitted, and the value for money is underway on that one. And redevelop Market Slip in the public space and Harbor Passage extension. We see the construction work going on daily there, so that's well underway. And thanks to the team involved, the patios were open sooner than we had planned. So, and work with the province and stakeholders to advance the development of the innovative Central Peninsula Learning Commons catalytic project. Good collaborative progress has been made on this catalytic project, and the same holds true for the North End schools. So we're happy to see those advancing. And the last two I'll highlight here under Prosperous are implementing inclusion and anti-racism initiatives to attract and retain newcomers in the community. This one will carry through to 2024. For the Visitor Information Center, work has been done in collaboration with Envision, and we've reported on this, and this work is completed at this time. And moving next to service, under service we have 9 actions. I'll highlight some again. Transforming Transit Plan is moving forward. On-demand service launched for West Side. Milledgeville and North is starting in July. And the electronic fare collection in the fall-winter timeframe. And there's also an award for the RFP and the CAD and AVL expected this summer. So things are moving forward here on that one. And Main Street Active Transportation Corridor. This is one that has been impacted, but we have been in discussions with the province just over the past couple of weeks. And we look forward to that moving forward in 2024. Fire service review is underway. We have a draft plan. We're meeting as a team, reviewing that for accuracy and any questions we have, and we will be bringing that forward to the Public Safety Committee in due course. And implement technology and processes to meet next-gen 911 related to legislated requirements. There's regular ongoing work that is occurring with the province on this, and so things are progressing in accordance with the plan. And lastly, I'll touch on implementing the annual symposium with the development industry to enhance facilitation and coordination and collaboration with Envision. So planning work is underway for this, for the fall, for a fall session to develop and attract new business in St. John. And lastly, moving into accountable, we have 13 actions here. So finalize the corporate key performance indicators and develop operational level metrics and implement dashboards for a new performance management framework. Work is progressing well. Stephanie Rackley Roach is advancing this with her team. And so we're excited to see that one moving forward. Develop governance, complete the ERP needs analysis, and begin the request for proposal process. Work is progressing well on this project. We have project manager identified. Council awarded the consulting services to undertake a readiness assessment and requirement analysis for this significant organizational change that will be happening. The long-term financial plan has been reviewed, updated, and presented to Finance Committee, and it will be presented to Council in July. And similarly, the 10-year long-term financial plan for the water utility has been completed, and it will also be presented to Council in July. And conduct recreation subsidies review and develop a long-term approach. The RFP is being prepared, and this one may move into 2024 depending upon the level of public engagement that we have with it. Finalize the revised procurement policy and implement. Council is aware of this one, given the third reading just moments ago. So, and then collective bargaining with our 2 units is moving along. That's 486 and ATU. And the last one I'll touch on is focused employee performance management, which involves a number of initiatives HR is advancing, like succession planning, attendance management, employee engagement, and employee recognition. And lastly, Your Worship, I'd like to give a big shout out to the team. There's a lot of work here. And I go through it quickly, but countless hours to a team who's working tirelessly to advance the priorities of council. And with that, the recommendation is to receive and file the initiatives plan update, subject to any questions.
All right, over to Councillor Radwan.
Thank you, Mayor. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, I went over this tooth and comb, CAO McGovern. I couldn't believe it that, the only thing that you're not on point for are things that are really not in your control. So, I mean, great job to you and the entire staff. I just think it's awesome because there's so much in there. So anyway, I just wanted to say good work. I just thought it was wonderful. I mean, I expected some things to not be really on track because it's so much, but you're just doing a great job.
Thanks, and that goes, like I say, to the team. They're the ones that are delivering on the results of this day today. So things are moving forward. Thank you.
Councillor Hickey.
Thanks very much, Your Worship. Through you to Brent. To Councillor Radwan's point, I mean, a monumental amount of work here, Brent. It's really nice to see the long-term vision really being weaved throughout this. My one concern, specific to the homelessness work being done with the province, my concern is that once we get into fall, again, we end up in a similar situation that we were in last year, where there was a bit of scrambling being done to get a solution in place. Can you offer any insight on what we're trying to do to kind of curb that outcome again this year?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, we just had this discussion over the past week or two internally. And so, really looking for the province to play a leadership role here as it relates to homelessness and shelter capacity. As you mentioned, Councillor, we filled the gap, but it was a last minute effort. And we have received, word from the Fire Marshal's office that really there's a significant amount of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars that needs to go into the Bellier if that were to be reused. And really the province is saying that it's not to be reused. It's not an option. So it does leave the question, what is the option? And so those discussions, in fact, meetings have been, I believe, scheduled at this point in time. And so we are getting updates tomorrow, point in time count, in terms of, HDC and the feedback from the front lines where we are in terms of our needs. And then we need to, on the heels of that, meet with the province and have discussions around what are the plans so that we understand those well in advance of the fall.
Yeah, and I guess, when it comes to housing, I come back to the analogy that it's the federal government's job to put gas in the car. It's the province's job to turn the key, and the municipality's job, which is ever changing, but I see it as to put the lines on the road. And I think that's really what it comes back to for me. So it's a challenge that we get stuck in this position, but I'm glad to know that we're on it. I'm wondering if you can offer any more insight specific to what the rollout and outcomes look like on the fire service review, and maybe to the chief as well.
You can just give us a highlight on that if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's a bit premature at this point in time because literally we sat down for the first time last week, Chief. Yeah, weeks are a blur, but and we have another discussion tomorrow. So it's really early days. We have a thick report, 100 and some pages to get through, review, and test it to make sure that any recommendations are founded in good data and good decision making. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Harris, over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to CEO McGovern. Yes, thank you for that. Really helpful kind of overview and just kind of a glimpse at where we're at, where we're going. I guess there's some things on that list, like there's all kinds of things that aren't on that list, obviously, that we talk about as a council. And one of them that we keep coming back to is a need to really establish what level of service we're trying to perform and hit on in certain areas. And we've kind of been at this holding pattern while we develop this performance management criteria and system. That seems to have gotten moved around as far as timelines go. I just can't remember what we originally were aiming for the timeline. I'd have to go back and look. But can you give me a little update on where we're at? Because I do feel like there's a fair bit riding on that performance management system that Stephanie's working on.
Yeah, and on that one, I would say it's really, we're moving to a service-based budget. And so understanding in terms of where the money is going and what the service level is that we're setting as a city, and then being able to adjust accordingly. And so that's the plan for the 2024 budget, is to have that service level based approach. Now, over time, and having an appreciation for what that level of service is, and then the investments that are required to adjust it up or down, we'll get better at in time, because this year we're setting the baseline. Although we are, as part of the budget process, going to be recommending service level enhancements. So if you look at a current state service, here's a current state service as we currently deliver it, but when we're looking at it from a staff perspective, if we were to enhance it, considering all of the items of council and all the priorities and plans and motions and taking all of that into consideration and opportunities, then there's kind of the areas of focus for service level enhancements that will add additional cost and burden to the overall budget, but it also brings about opportunity. So that's where we're
Yeah, and I
looking
kind of
at
see
it
that. I
this
guess
year.
for me, like I always want to be able to see into the output of the the workforce and what we're at. So like not just adding net new, but how do we enable and support through that performance management lens, better output for the workforce, elimination of barriers to different workflows that exist. But anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be a big deal for us when we get that done. I am very excited about the service-based budget for sure. That other piece, though, is critical as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and just on that point, like, there are some things we measure and we track those, and, I think we have good accountability for. It's those items that we don't currently measure that requires this performance level metric so that we can then set our standard accordingly.
Okay, that looks like it's it for questions. Thank you very much. I'll just say myself that for the public, that you should, if you can, take a look at this. It's all neatly packaged up in some great slides. There are 52 initiatives, and they're listed under Vibrant, Vibrant, Prosperous Service and Accountability. They've come through the long-term our long-term financial plan, as well as our priorities. I like to think of our priorities, I guess, as our values, because they're the things like grow, belong, move, green, and perform. And staff has taken all of that, plus our catalytic projects, and they put this together for us. It's a fantastic, good news story. There is hours and hours of work. There's no status quo in here. Our team is moving St. John forward. You've seen that. Historically, you've seen us coming forward. We've had transforming transit. We've had so many things happening in St. John. We've got your WasteWise rollout. We've got so much going on. And here's another 52 items that will also be moving forward this year and into next year, some of them maybe. So it's pretty exciting times to be in the leadership. So I do want to thank staff as well, because we're here every week and we whip through this and we'll get through this meeting in maybe an hour and a half or whatever, but there's like hours and hours of work to get us here. So, and it's all great work, and it's all progressive work, it's all different work, it's all cutting edge work, it's all putting us out front, and it's all just reinforcing that St. John is a leader in New Brunswick. So thanks to the team, and it's great work, appreciate it very much. Next item, City Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next, under committee reports, item 13.1, we have a submission from the Growth Committee, Community Enhancement Project Resource Proposal.
Okay, thank you. Last week it was the Finance Committee show. This week it's the Growth Committee show. Over
just
to you,
gonna
Councillor
say.
Killen.
Settle in for some Growth Committee story time, because we have 3 items here for you all this evening. And on that theme of, always moving forward, all 3 of these items have special places in my heart, particularly because they come from us trying new things and seeing the success of that and then building on it. So it was a really awesome Growth Committee this last week. And this represents multiple years of work in some regards. So for this first one, the Community Enhancement Project Resource Proposal, I would like to move a motion to approve an expenditure of $215,000 from the Community Services Reserve for resources associated with a 15-month Community Enhancement Pilot Program. And if I can get a seconder, I will speak more to that.
Councillor Ogden is your seconder. Go ahead, Councillor
Thank you.
Killen.
So I'm pleased to bring this next item to you tonight. So we are looking to get $215,000 from the Community Enhancement Pilot that would be funded through the Community Services Reserve. This pilot would capitalize on resource opportunities identified under the 2022 Community Enhancement Project, those being enhancing the minimum property standards program and transitioning from a reactive complaint-based approach to now a proactive approach, increasing the capacity of the new dangerous and vacant buildings initiative, including an unsightly repair program, which you have heard Councillor Harris talk about for 2 years now. So by capitalizing on these opportunities, city staff anticipates an 80% increase in resolved cases under the minimum property standards program and a 30% increase in resolved cases in the dangerous and vacant building program. By resolving more cases, the city will see a significant improvement on tenant safety, housing quality, and affordability, and will experience safer, more vibrant neighborhoods. Conducting this pilot also aligns with Common Council's Grow and Belong priorities and achieves objectives outlined in the city's 10-year strategic plan and affordable housing plan, checking all the boxes. Meeting these outcomes fulfills evaluation criteria established in the Community Services Reserve Policy, and therefore, funding the pilot through the Community Services Reserve is recommended. The proposed community enhancement pilot presents a valuable opportunity to enhance the minimum standards program and expand the capacity of dangerous and vacant buildings initiatives. By investing in these community enhancement efforts, a lasting positive impact can be made on the well-being and pride of St. John citizens. So I look forward to your support, I hope.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? So I've got a mover and I've got a seconder. I've got Councillor Radwan on the question. Go ahead.
I have a quick question. I mean, I think this is fabulous. I'm not sure. Okay, Mr. Purinton, that would be great. So I'm assuming if everything, all the growth committee stuff is approved tonight, when you're getting into these conversations, you'd probably be saying that there is beautification grants available if there's something with the facade or whatever on their property.
Through your worship to the councillor, absolutely, we will be using that beautification grant program really to try to drive voluntary compliance in our cases.
Yeah.
Also with other grant programs like our urban development incentives and various grants available at the provincial level as well.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, it's a great way to try to get standards up and safety in the neighborhoods. Thank you, and your presentation was wonderful.
Thank you. Councillor Ogden, over to you.
Jacqueline, the whole staff. I just want to compliment you. This is super. We're going to be bold. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to clean up our neighborhoods and clean up all the vacant lots and the buildings that don't look great. I'm also very pleased that we're hiring some folks who are going to be the front line right out in the street getting things done, and that there's a beautification program that Douglas Avenue and the North End have been added to. So I just want to thank you and compliment you on the great work, and we will really see our population grow when we really get those vacant lots and vacant derelict buildings cleaned up. So I want to thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. That looks like it. That's it, Ben, for you. Thank you. Okay, yes, this is an amazing opportunity, another one for us, increasing your minimum standards. That's fantastic. I think, the switch from reactionary to going forward is huge for us, so it's great. It's great news. So I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Excellent. Next item, City Clerk.
Next is item 13.2 from the Growth Committee. It's entitled Beautification Grant Program.
Councillor Killen, back to you.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. So this motion would recommend that City Council approve that Common Council receive and file the Urban Beautification Program report, and that Common Council adopt the amended Urban Beautification Policy as presented to Growth Committee on June 22nd. Okay, if I can get a seconder, I will speak on it.
Deputy.
Excellent, thank you. So the Beautification Grant Program provides financial assistance to property owners looking to improve the overall aesthetic of their property. It was recognized that reinvestments in the facades of homes and small businesses or the landscaping of front yards would quickly improve the appearance of properties, increasing the attractiveness of streets. The program has been piloted on the Central Peninsula, but staff are recommending the program be extended to incorporate the Old North End and Douglas Avenue as new neighborhoods of focus. The transition will see the program shift from Central Peninsula and the north to the North End during 2023, with the intention that the grant boundary will be updated to align with the final boundary established for the new North End neighborhood plan. Outlined in the report is an updated policy that expanded on how the qualifying work and also updates the scoring system. So this is another big win to see investment in areas that we know need some love, and something I know Councillor Ogden has been talking about as well as a deputy. So we're really excited for this one as well. So if there's any questions, Yeva is right here to help.
All right, Councillor Hickey, over to you.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I think as everyone knows, I'm a big fan of this project. I'm a user of the beautification grants for my own property here in the South End. And I guess my only concern is with the transition to the North End, I feel like it acts like we've done it in the South End and now we're moving along. And while we've seen that investment go into the South End, $560,000 odd, I would argue that we're still seeing the significant impact of derelict buildings in the community. We're still seeing it pervasive in all of those focus areas that were represented in the last presentation through a community enhancement project. Why not continue in the South End, expand into the rest of those identified areas of opportunity through our enhancement project, and use funds similar to our previous presentation from that community reserve?
I think largely it just had to do with this year, we were just focusing on amending the policy. We weren't looking for more budget. So we're trying to stick within that budget of 60,000. Well, we actually bumped it up a little bit with the existing envelope to 60,000. And so trying to split it between two large neighborhoods might just stretch us thin. I mean, this is something as we transition, we can relook at to see what interest we get going forward. And maybe we can break down some numbers and see.
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest that the numbers themselves show the interest in the program, in particular throughout the non-heritage areas of the South End. I'm not supportive of removing it from the Central Peninsula. I would be supportive of seeing extra funding go to it to add additional projects through that community fund. I can't support it not leaving the South End.
Okay. CAO, over to you.
Yeah, and then transitions.
Through your worship, so there is funding through 2023 for both areas, neighborhoods. So, if council wanted us to take this away as a service level enhancement item for consideration as part of the 2024 budget process, we could do that.
Yeah, I'm definitely in favor of that, because I'm not in favor of the report as it stands. Thank you.
Okay, that the motions can stay the same. That's all good, yeah. All right, so the two recommendations, you've got them in your kit. We have a mover and a seconder. I see no more questions. So I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Hickey opposed. Next item, City Clerk.
Next item is 13.3 on the agenda. It's another Growth Committee submission entitled Ethnocultural Small Grant Program.
Over to you, Councillor Killen.
Thank you. It's your final story of this evening. So this recommendation comes from Growth Committee to approve the Ethnocultural Small Grant Program policy as presented to Growth Committee on June 22nd, and to direct staff to implement the program. So if I can get a seconder.
Seconder on that. Deputy.
Okay, thank you. The Ethnocultural Small Grant Program is designed to assist new and existing ethnocultural groups in obtaining incorporation, increasing service delivery, and supporting select initiatives that will further strengthen newcomer retention in the city of St. John. In 2022, the pilot program saw significant uptake with successful distribution of 13 grants. It is the recommendation of staff that the program transition from a pilot to a permanent offering, which is, again, so exciting. So big thanks to Jennifer Waldschutz, who's been the lead on this, along with the growth team. This is another one. If you saw the list of folks we were able to help last year, it was an incredible list, and it's definitely one to check out and see what new groups were formed as a result of this fund. So I'll let you take it away for questions.
Thank you. Okay. We do have Jennifer Waldschutz here this evening to answer any questions. And our first question up is Councillor Radwan.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. I do have a quick question for you, Ms. Walshers, but I just wanted to mention that, a lot of these ethnocultural groups, sometimes I don't know if people realize, like, they're really helping their communities as they're coming new into town, helping them with settlement, introducing them to people, helping them find, like, what kind of foods they might be needing within their cultures and things like that. So it's really great. I know that you have an email list of these cultural groups. I'm just wondering if this is approved, if you'd be sending communication out as a reminder of when this would open up for them and everything.
Through your worship to the councillor, thank you for making that point. You're absolutely correct. Through the funding, our ethnocultural groups, which are 55 ethnocultural groups now, by the way, They are doing airport pickups and showing people where to find apartments and driving them around and introducing to what I call old comers and helping each other extensively. So we're very proud of that. And you are right, there is a very special ethnocultural list, which actually has two pieces to it. There's one that we use to do outreach to the leaders of those ethnocultural groups. And then we have a separate one that's for media that doesn't have personal emails on it and more of the websites that belong to those groups, which we're helping them establish. And I have been in large communication with them about this ethnocultural grant because we were meant to be on the growth committee presentation earlier and it's been sort of delayed a little bit. So we do have some people that are waiting for their events, especially now that summer has begun. And they're all waiting very much for my announcement to them tomorrow, depending on what you should decide this evening. So
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for your work.
thank you.
Okay, Councillor Hickey, over to you.
Thanks very much, Your Worship. I think what's so great about this is we've always struggled a little bit with retention. And you know, the second part in that succeed and stay is stay. And I think that's what this does, and that really builds that cultural aspect of it. My only question, Jennifer, is I know last week when Envision was here, I asked a question about how those relationships work between our efforts in City Hall focused on whether it be immigration and growth efforts along those lines and theirs. Can you explain your relationship and work with them and exactly how that balance is being taken?
Through your worship to Councillor Hickey. Absolutely. We're in constant touch with not only Envision, but St. John Newcomers, YMCA Newcomer Connections, and Prude. So almost everything we do is together in terms of immigration and welcoming and retention. For example, tomorrow, Multicultural Day, those are all our partners, and we're moving forward together. So they all have access to our ethnocultural list that we talk about, and we share a lot of information, and we're always working with them. We don't do anything without them, so we're all a unit, a group.
Thank you. Excellent answer. I think that's it for us then. So I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, City Clerk.
Thank
you,
you.
Jennifer.
You're changing people's lives. Thank you.
This is true.
The final item is a recommendation that came from Committee of the Whole, and it's with respect to appointments to committees. And I can read out the proposed resolution for Council's consideration, and it would be that Council approve the appointments to agencies, boards, commissions, and committees as submitted by the nominating committee to the Committee of the Whole at its meeting of June 26, 2023.
Okay, I'll take a motion for that. The Deputy and Councillor Killen on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. And the next item would be motion to adjourn. Councillor Lowe, over to you. Take a seconder on that. Councillor Killen. All in favor? Thank you. Good night, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. That was pretty quick.